CNPN.
We live in an era of explosive technological advancement unlike any other in human history. Humanity appears to be at the peak of a digital revolution. However, alongside this remarkable technological advancement, significant challenges such as data privacy violations, algorithmic bias, and the widening digital divide threaten humanity's sustainable future. French economist Cédric Durand argues in his book Technofeudalism that today's capitalism is dead. He argues that we have regressed to a new form of feudalism where giant big tech companies reign like feudal lords. We have instant access to all the world's information with our smartphones, and sophisticated artificial intelligence efficiently assists us in our daily lives like personal assistants. It seems as if we live in a prosperous digital utopia. However, behind this lies a dark shadow we haven't yet recognized. This means that personal data and freedom are subordinated and exploited by a small number of giant platforms. The term technological feudalism captures the critical perception that users have effectively become data serfs. The core of capitalism is the market and profit. However, the monopolistic dominance of platform companies is destroying the market and undermining fair competition. Big tech companies operate their platforms as digital fiefdoms, raising barriers to market entry through algorithms and massive data accumulation. This stifles the emergence of new companies and hinders fair competition among existing ones, undermining innovation and efficiency, the core driving forces of capitalism. Amazon receives a commission for every sale and even owns the algorithms that determine which products will sell. We constantly generate data through our interactions on platforms like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Google collects all of our information, what we search for, where we go, and who we meet. Big tech's monopoly power based on this data is called cloud capital. He points out that our actions of producing and reproducing the value of this cloud capital constitute unpaid labor or free data labor. We believe we are making free choices, but in reality, our interests and desires are being manipulated by algorithms. Just as feudal lords dictated the lives of their serfs, big tech lords guide our actions for their own benefit. Traditional capitalists have now become vassals of the cloud lords, and most of us are now working as data serfs. Technological feudalism undermines the core values of sound capitalism: competition, innovation, and fair compensation. It threatens the very existence of capitalism by regressing the economic system to an unproductive structure centered on the control of a few and unearned income. Data serfdom and exploitation are occurring. Platform users, both consumers and participating businesses, are forced to provide data to use the service. This data is then used to generate revenue for big tech. Users are placed in a position akin to voluntary data serfs, providing the majority of the value they produce to platform businesses, like lords. This violates the capitalist principle of fair compensation for labor and capital. Economic inequality is also deepening. Wealth and power are concentrated in the hands of a small number of platform owners, while the majority of users and small businesses are subordinated to the platforms, weakening their bargaining power. This leads to extreme wealth inequality and deepens socioeconomic polarization. This technological feudalism exacerbates existing inequalities and threatens democracy. A small number of big tech companies wield enormous economic power and political influence, occupying the very top of the social pyramid. Democracy and individual autonomy are under threat. The immense economic power of tech giants can translate into political influence, threatening democratic decision-making processes. Algorithmic surveillance and control can severely undermine individual autonomy and freedom. Familiar tools of life, like social networks and e-commerce, are plunging us into a desolate post-capitalist world. Technological feudalism forces us to reflect on whether we are becoming voluntary slaves and handing over absolute power. Technological feudalism forces us to choose between staying within the walls of big tech or stepping outside. If we fail to act now, future generations may never be able to dream of a world outside the walls dominated by giant big tech.